Yep, I see it now, Tima.
Okay, perfect. And the screen is the presenter's view. Is it the correct view for you? Okay,
Yep.
perfect.
Do we have a gauge on how many participants are on to see if we should start?
One of the panelists should be able to see in the attendee.
I can see 20.
There's a number.
See 26, 27.
35.
Oh, wow.
I see 35 as well.
Huh.
All right,
Hey,
let's
if I could just take a moment. I'm only going to be able to be on for about 30 minutes, so if I drop off, it's not because I want to, but because I have to.
sounds good. Well, what do you think? Should we go ahead and start, or?
Yeah.
Sure.
Let's kick it off.
All right. Oh, okay. Well, welcome everybody to the joint public participation meeting and proposed DBE project goals. WETA, or San Francisco Bay Ferry, and WETA and Golden Gate Bridge Highway and Transportation District are doing this joint public participation meeting together. We both have upcoming procurements, and so we figured we would get everybody on one webinar. So thank you for being here today. From our side of the house, we have Jeff Powell, our Engineering and Maintenance Administrator, Tim Hanners, our Operations and Maintenance Manager, and myself, Lauren Ghilardi, excuse me, I'm the Government and Regulatory Affairs Manager. And then Tima, would you like to introduce your team?
Sure. Today we have Michael Hoffman, the Director of Engineering and Maintenance for our Ferry Division, Jim Shea, our Project Engineer for the Ferry Division, and Ida Santiago, our Contracts Officer, and I'm Artemis Davenport, the DBE Program Administrator for the district. I do want to go over a few housekeeping tips to help us have a smooth session. The panels we will use today are the Q&A. We are asking attendees to submit their questions in the Q&A, and please identify the agency to which your question is addressed. The chat box will be used for resources, for links to our website or contact information or any other resources. However, if you are having trouble finding your Q&A panel, you may submit your question in the chat box, but if you could, please use the Q&A. There is a reaction feature. If you are on a desktop or your computer, you'll see the little happy face at the bottom. This is called the reaction feature. You may click on that to use the raise your hand feature, and during the Q&A, you may request to come off mute to ask your question. This meeting is being recorded and will be posted to both agencies' website. Probably by the end of this week or early next week. And I believe you can take it away, Lauren, with your presentation.
Okay, let me go ahead and share here. Okay, can everybody see this presentation?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, well, welcome everybody. The first part is a presentation on WETA's 2022 ferry procurement. So thank you everybody for sharing your lunch with us, your lunchtime with us. I will be giving a very brief overview of our agency. I'll be handing it over to our operations staff to talk about our project, including the service profile, our vision for the new ferry vessels, procurement provisions, the tentative procurement schedule, and then I'll be handing back, or they'll be handing back the presentation to me, and I'll be walking us through how we have developed our DBE project goal for this project and how you can sign up for our networking list for the project. And then we'll open it up to questions and answers. So I believe most of you guys on the registration list know who we are, but for good measure, the Water Emergency Transportation Authority operates San Francisco Bay Ferry services. We are the regional agency tasked with operating and expanding ferry service on the San Francisco Bay, as well as coordinating emergency ferry service. We operate ferry service from the city of Vallejo to San Francisco, Richmond to San Francisco, Oakland to San Francisco. We operate now from 3 different ferry terminals in Alameda to San Francisco. And then we're also operating service from Oakland and Alameda down to South San Francisco. Prior to the pandemic, we were carrying about 3.2 million passengers a year on our fleet of 15 high-speed passenger-only ferry vessels. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Jeff. Jeff, just let me know when you want me to scoot the slide forward.
Okay, no problem. Thanks, Lauren. Welcome, everybody. I'm Jeff Hallam with WETA. I'm the maintenance and administrator there. And our goal here is we want to talk about potentially releasing an RFP in early to mid 2022 to construct a 250 to 400 passenger vessel with a possible option of a second. As with all our other vessels, they'll be operating on the existing ferry routes that we have. And our goal is to design and construct this for zero emissions, electric power, while maintaining safe and efficient operations. Next slide, Lauren. Oh, I think you went too, Lauren. Okay, so we've got the Intently that's coming up that's due to possibly retire from service. It was built by Dakota Creek in 1997. Typically, or on average, our vessels see about 3,000 operating hours per year. And this particular vessel burns about 120 gallons per hour. Next slide, Lauren. So some of the things we're going to be looking for in this new procurement is zero emissions with electric propulsion, obviously for safe and reliable operations. We haven't confirmed our target operating speed yet. That's going to depend a lot on the technology that's out there, but we're targeting 21 to 30 knots. Most definitely it's going to need an advanced power management system for monitoring, optimizing efficient operations on this vessel. And again, our target passenger accommodating is 250 to 400, but some of that is going to be dictated by the technology available at the time. Rapid and slow charging capabilities will definitely be a must, as long as rapid boarding and disembarking of passengers compatible with all of our WETA facilities in service right now. Lauren, to the next one. Some of our visions are zero emissions for these ferries. We'd like to see 300 plus passengers. Bicycles, I put 30 plus, but I mean that could go up quite a bit depending on how we design this vessel. Rapid and slow charging capabilities, that was already mentioned. We're looking for efficient electrical packages throughout, not just the propulsion system. Ergonomic, efficient pilot house arrangements, including navigation and electronics, and the same level of comfort that we have across our fleet and our passenger cabins that we have right now. Next slide, Lauren. Some of our bigger requirements to be compatible with all of our landings across the facilities will be the boarding arrangements, which is typically side boarding, kind of midship and aft quarter. Next slide, Lauren. What we intend to do is a design build contract using a 2-step process. We will be looking at both technical and price elements, and we'll be scoring to determine a best value award, provided price proposals fall within the projected budget. One vessel will be procured with an option for a second similar vessel, and structure and timing of the procurement is still under development, but expected to be released around mid-2022. I can go over that on the next slide, Lauren. Now, these are tentative and subject to change. We're looking to complete the RFP development in the first quarter of 2022.
Sorry.
You're okay. And then begin advertising. Again, these are all projected, and nothing's been approved yet. Technical price proposals will be sometime around the end of the first quarter, beginning of the second quarter. Scoring should be handled in the same quarter. Best and final offers due if required, and then contract award with WETA board approval around the third quarter of 2022. Contract execution notice to proceed towards the end of the year, and then depending on the contract agreement, vessel complete late 2024, early 2025. Now again, I think that schedule is pretty ambitious and is subject to some modifications as we go through this process.
So I'm now going to walk us through our proposed disadvantaged business enterprise goal and how we came up with it. This project is funded in part with Federal Transit Administration funds, and part of those requirements that flow down from FTA is to develop a project goal for a DBE project goal for this project. What that means is that we're looking at the availability of the disadvantaged business enterprise firms versus the availability of all firms to do the type of work that's contemplated in this vessel construction contract. So the process that we went through to establish this goal, I'm going to walk through it in the next couple slides here. We first reviewed our past 7 vessel construction contracts to determine the type of subcontracting opportunities that are typically used in vessel construction projects. And we also included components and subcomponents in that list. Based on that review, we identified 19 different subcontracting areas, and then we assigned an associated North American Industry Classification System code, a NAICS code, to those subcontracting areas. We then looked at the geographic market area that would be used for this analysis, and based on our contracting, our past contract awards, our market area for this analysis was the entire state of California, as well as the entire state of Washington. And then we went through an analysis to develop a base figure. And what that means is we pulled data from a disadvantaged business enterprise database to understand the number of DBEs that are working in those 19 different NAICS codes. And then we also pulled data to understand how many all firms are working in those 19 different NAICS codes. And we do a simple calculation to determine the number or the availability of DBEs to do this type of work for this contract. Our base figure, which is this first step in this analysis, was 3.04%. And I'm going to walk you through these are the different NAICS codes that we used to develop the analysis, that went into the analysis. So we have our construction management services, electrical, plumbing, drywall, painting, flooring, finished carpentry, pipe and pipe fitting, communications equipment, navigation equipment, manufacturing, some switch gear, switchboard manufacturing and storage battery manufacturing, seating, the prime code, which is the shipbuilding and repair NAICS code, as well as metal merchant wholesalers, transportation equipment, commercial and industrial machinery, engineering services, and temporary help services. So those are all the different subcontracting opportunities that we looked at that together make this vessel construction contract. So the second step that we went through to develop the goal was to adjust our base goal. And for this analysis, we adjusted it based on our past participation on WETA's contracting or vessel construction contracts. And then we also adjusted it based on the number of DBEs that were available to perform as a prime for that prime work, which is the 336611 NAICS code for shipbuilding and repairing. And so we actually went out to there's 5 DBEs between the state of California and the state of Washington, and we contacted them to see if they could perform as a prime on this contract. All of them reported that they could not work as a prime, but they could be a subcontractor. So we adjusted the goal based on that. And the proposed goal based on that adjustment is 1.52%. All DBEs for our projects, for WETA's project, have to be certified by the California Unified Certification Program to be eligible on our projects. And that means if there's a DBE that's certified by the state of Washington, that DBE needs to get certified in the California Unified Certification Program. So there's a process to go through for interstate certification, and our TMSA, or Golden Gate, I should say, Golden Gate and ourselves are holding a joint webinar that's presented by Caltrans next week on October 20th at 10 a.m. to walk through the steps to do interstate certification. So we would definitely invite anybody who's interested in that or who knows firms that might be interested in that to please send them to our website. Our link is right here. It's also on our website where you signed up for, where you registered for this event. And there's also another registration link for this webinar. So the last thing here I want to discuss is just our vessel procurement networking list. What we've done in the past for our vessel construction projects We want to make sure to give primes and subs as much time as possible in advance of an RFP to network with each other, have an opportunity to see who's interested in the project, form teams, because once we release the RFP, I think people are really busy in figuring out how to respond to the RFP. And sometimes there's not enough time for a firm who is qualified to become a DBE to actually go through the application process to become a DBE. So we want to give everybody as much time as possible. So you can go to our website and sign up for our networking list. You'd be entering your firm information, a contact information, email. And what we'll do is about every once a week, we'll go ahead and update a PDF, post it back on our website, and you can go ahead and look at our website to find the latest information on what firms are interested in performing on this project. So with that, we'd like to open it up for the Q&A session for WETA. As our team as they said in the beginning, you can go ahead and submit your questions via the Q&A box on the WebEx screen. And I think she also said you can raise your hand and ask a question verbally. We will be doing our best to answer all the questions that we can here on this webinar. But if people think of other questions that they want to ask, we want to give folks some time to do that up until this Friday, October 15th at 2:00 p.m. And we'll go ahead and write answers to all those questions and post them on our website by 2 p.m. on Tuesday, October 19th. Hopefully I got that date right. And once again, the link to our website is right down there. So with that, I'm going to stop talking and open it up. I think Jeff or Tim, I cannot see the Q&A box. So if there's questions that are coming in, can you read them?
Lauren, we've got a question from John Hoplich. I don't know if you want me to read the question or should we ask John to present it, but it's here. I can read it. The question is there an opportunity as a DBE in 336611 to still participate as a prime? Blackfish Solutions LLC is a DBE in California under NAICS 336611.
Yes, and thanks for asking that question, John. I know that there was a glitch in the DBE database, which we were able to fix. So now that your firm is in the DBE database, we can go ahead and adjust our goal to include your firm as a prime under the 336611 code. So yes, and there's always an opportunity for you to be participating on our contracts. It's just a matter of whether or not it's included in that goal.
Okay, that's the only, I don't see any other comments or questions at this time. Does anybody have any questions or comments for the WETA side of things? Nothing in the Q&A, nothing in the chat. I don't see any hands. Wait a minute, here's one. Okay, I've got another one for WETA. Is there a desire to have noise and vibration requirements for new vessels? If so, how will these requirements be enforced? Will there be a requirement for predictions during design? Yes, there will be a requirement in the RFP that we go out for. I don't know what those set points will be right now, but we will go through some analysis in the design stage to set those values of what we expect as a final result. Any more questions? I don't see any hands raised.
And if there's no more questions, I'll keep talking for a moment here in case someone's typing right now and we can't see it. But remember, you're always welcome to send questions to me. That's at Gularte, G-U-L-A-R-T-E, @watertransit.org up until Friday at 2 p.m. And we can go ahead and prepare answers to those questions and again, post them on our website by Tuesday, October 19th at 2 p.m.
Okay, I've got another couple questions popping up.
Okay. I wasted
Has
enough
there
time.
been any-
Perfect.
Here's one question. Has there been any thought on hull shapes and propulsion types? Thanks. So yeah, so typically WETA likes to standardize on the catamaran type hulls. In the propulsion, what we're looking at is probably standard propeller with electric propulsion, although we're not ruling out jets at this point. But we got to see where the technology allows us to go with jets to get a service speed that we can work with. And the next question, will points be assigned in the scoring process for DVE participation from the prime?
And I can go ahead and answer that question. That we are not assigning points for DBE participation. So no.
Any more questions, comments? And again, you still have an opportunity to submit them online.
I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen and give Tima a moment to load your presentation.
Okay, great. Thanks, Lauren.
I don't see any more questions coming up, but we'll be glad to answer any of them later on that come up after the Golden Gate presentation.
All right, back over to Golden Gate then.
Okay, perfect. Okay, how does that look? Can you guys see the screen okay? Awesome. Okay. Well, welcome everyone to the joint public participation meeting hosted between WETA and the Golden Gate Ferry staff. I am going to turn this over to Jim Shea, who will go through the agenda and the presentation until I get to my part. Thank you, guys.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. Briefly going over the agenda here, we'll go over an overview of the Golden Gate Ferry, a project overview, vision for the new ferry, highlights of the contract overview, as well as our tentative schedule. And then Timo will go over the proposed DB project goal and have open Q&A. Golden Gate Ferry, as most of you probably know, is part of the Golden Gate Bridge District, established in 1970, headquartered in Larkspur, California. Our current fleet of 7 vessels includes 3 Spalding-class monohulls and 4 high-speed catamarans. Our service routes include Larkspur, San Francisco, Sausalito, and Tiburon. And we're also available to be used for emergency response ferry service. So, project overview for the whole new build ferry is a design, bid, build approach. And we plan to release a statement of qualifications to design a high-speed ferry early in 2022. And the vessel will operate in our established routes, which we had already mentioned. We're looking to construct an efficient, reliable ferry service. Our goal is to reach a 35 knot at full load passenger speed, 450 plus passengers. We have to comply with the 10 knot low wake wash speed, and looking for rapid boarding and disembarking of passengers. The vision for our new ferry includes our minimum EPA Tier 4 plus CARB compliance, U.S. Coast Guard Subchapter K, and less than 100 gross tons. Again, 450 plus passengers, 35 plus bicycles, and our multi-level loading and unloading between main deck and upper deck considering ADA requirements, and we'll also like to focus on our passenger experience. High level on the contracts, this will be a federally funded procurement, so federal regulations will apply. Our design bid build format will include hiring our engineering services based on qualifications. That will be part of our SOQ. Upon completion of the engineering and design package, we'll release a separate RFP for the construction phase. And contractor will be selected based on best value approach. These will consider quality, price, and other elements which provide the best value to the district. Our tentative schedule, similar to what Jeff said, these are subject to change, and just a high level overview. We plan to advertise the SOQ for engineering detail design in February of 2022. The SOQ submittal date will be sometime in March. That'll be at least a month, probably 2 months for firms to develop their proposal. Contract award and district board approval, we'll shoot for May 2022. And then once our engineering package is complete, we'll go to advertise for our request for proposals on the construction phase, shooting for around July 2023, with contract award in October of 23, and then vessel completion shooting for March 2025.
Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the proposed DBE project goal and how we arrived at our proposed goal. Unlike WETA, the district, the last time the district purchased went out for a bid for a new ferry vessel was over 20 years ago in 2001, the purchase of our MV Mendocino. There is a two-step process in when establishing DBE project goals and DBE overall triennial goals. I won't get heavily repeat the information that Lauren explained earlier. It is the same process. We follow the same formula. And so with our step one, our base figure was 3.44%. Again, the percentages are based only on the federal share. The applicable NAICS codes that were determined by Ferry staff on prime contracting and subcontracting opportunities. Staff identified 19 NAICS codes. The geographic market area identified, of course, because our agency is established in California, we included the state of California, and I believe the majority of our vessels have been built in Washington state. So we did include the state of Washington as part of our geographic market area. I won't go through all of the NAICS codes. They're very similar to what WETA mentioned earlier, except I think we have one code that's different because of the type of vessel we are procuring. So the proposed DBE goal for the district's project is 1.04%. So again, that step one base figure of 3.44%, staff did analyze and consider in the step two process past participation on similar contracts, as well as the prime and subcontracting work. So past participation, again, it's been over 20 years since the district has purchased a ferry vessel from ground up. And so we did take a look at WETA's ferry contracts, procurements, at which 0%, I believe, was and Lauren, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe 0% DB participation was obtained. And again, the way I do want to mention how you determine if a prime has met a DBE goal. The goals are based, or obtainment is based on award. So at the time of award, whatever DBE participation you were able to gain at the time of the award of the contract, that determines if you met the established DBE goal. The district did look at DBE Prime certified in NAICS code 336611, ship building and repairing, which is the bulk of the work on this contract. In order to receive DBE Gold credit, a DBE firm must be certified by the California Unified Certification Program, the CUCP, and must be in that database at the time of award. Any DBE certified out of the state of California, you must apply for the interstate certification. And as Lauren mentioned, we are hosting, WETA in the district is hosting an interstate certification webinar next week, next Wednesday, I believe, at 10 a.m. There is the link provided to make sure you get registered if you are a DBE firm that is participating in this event and are certified out of state. The RFQ or the solicitation documents will be advertised on our Bonfire, which is our procurement portal. And because there's nothing advertised now, we have created an interest and networking list. When the solicitation is available on Bonfire, there is a subcontractor feature that you can select if you are interested in being a sub on the project. And that is available. This networking list is available to the public. It's on our website. But when the solicitation is posted on Bonfire, that also creates another networking list. And I highly advise, if you are interested in submitting a proposal or participating as a sub, to click on the subcontracting feature. The interest list, interest and networking list is available by clicking this link. You can find this information on the district's website. If you go to goldengate.org and you click on district, we do have a district projects link that you can read more about the project, and that's where you'll find the networking list. All dates that have been mentioned are subject to change. And I believe that takes us to our general Q&A session. And I don't have eyes, guys, so I cannot see the chat or the Q&A panel. I do also want to mention there was a question submitted to me privately that will attendees have access to the those that are attending this meeting. I can share that registration list. I don't think anyone on the call has an objection to sharing their information. Can you guys hear me? Okay,
Yep.
I don't think anyone has an objection to sharing their information, but if you do, please submit in the chat that you don't want your information shared. Otherwise, I will share the registration list for this event. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, Tammy, we do have a question here from Jesse Spence. Will there be noise and vibration requirements for the vessel? How will the requirements be enforced? Will predictions be required during the design phase? And will testing be required? This will be considered and discussed with the engineering firm during our initial phase of the project. So I don't have any specifics on that, but we definitely want to keep that in mind with passenger comfort. Okay, same question from John Hofflich, I think, as a DBE certified in California under NEX 336611. Can Blackfish Solutions be considered as an additional prime re-DBE going?
Yes, so what'll happen, and that is the purpose of this public participation meeting, is to receive those comments. And so both agencies will go back and look at their analysis, and will include the one firm, will include your firm into that goal calculation, and that will probably give us a different percentage, and that we will incorporate that comment into our goal methodology. And you will find the updates posted on the district's website.
And nothing else in the Q&A for now. There's a chat.
There was a couple popping up in chat.
Yeah. All right, next one. DBE certification in Washington is a federal certification. Do we need California certification? I believe the answer is yes, but go ahead, Tima.
Yes, if you're certified as a DBE in any other state and you are not listed in the California Unified Certification Program database, then you would have to apply for interstate certification. It is a federal program, but the regulations are very clear that in order to count goal credit, DBE credit, applied to any goal, you'd have to be certified in the UCP of the agent. Well, for us, the agency that is um, issuing the bid solicitation, you'd have to be certified in California.
Okay, another question. Is there a DBE goal for the engineering contract?
So it's a project goal. So what happens is the work for the design and the construction was considered. What can happen, the DBE project goal is pretty much an arching goal. It's an overall goal of the project. The district can, if there are, of course, there will be some subcontracting opportunities. We can set a small business enterprise goal on the design solicitation as well as the construction solicitation. And the SBE goal is to foster in that DBE participation. So again, the 1.04% will not be a specific DBE goal for the design nor the construction project. It's an overall goal that we're trying to achieve. So there potentially can be a small business enterprise goal on the design and on the construction project.
Okay, another comment going back to the previous question. Is there reciprocity, which I believe is applying to the California certification?
Yeah, we actually looked into that, and unfortunately, the headquarters gave us guidance that you have to go through the interstate certification process. And I can tell you, if you please, if you can attend that webinar that's happening next week, there is potentially a way that your interstate certification could possibly be expedited. There's plenty of time, which is why we're doing this, holding this meeting very early. So there is assistance available. The NorCal Procurement Technical Assistance Center offers free DBE supportive services and can help you with your application, your interstate application, to try to get that expedited. But we tried everything we could because, you know, if our vessel is going to be built in Washington State and the DBEs there are not certified in California, we did try to see if we could count that as DBE credit to our goal, but unfortunately, we have to follow the federal regulations. And there is no reciprocity in place between Washington and California UCPs.
Another question here. The DBE goal looks a bit low, especially since NAICS 237990 is part of the bid. Do CUCP certified DBEs have to get the same interstate certification?
No, if you're in the California Unified Certification Program database, no, because you're already certified in the state of California.
Okay.
And again, the goals are the percentages are based only on the federal share. So with all of those NAICS codes, depending on the dollar amount for the federal share, all that work is broken out. And then that percentage is what's going to be available in that specific NAICS code. Hopefully that makes sense.
Okay, nothing new popping up yet, but we can give it a few minutes.
Also, I want to mention, because I can't access the chat box now, but I will put my email address, which is adavenport@goldengate.org, in the chat box. You can please feel free to reach out to me at any time, and I can definitely help you with, on the DBE side, help you with anything that you need, any assistance you need. And I'm pretty sure that's the same for Lauren.
Yeah, just for everybody, I will be doing the same right now and putting my information in the chat box as well.
We've got a question for WETA, DBE Administrator Lauren.
That's her email.
Yeah, I just put my email address in for everybody. Sorry.
Okay. There's Lauren's email if people want it.
Team, I'll drop yours in the chat since you're unable to do it.
Thank you.
All right, well, I don't see any new questions or comments. All right, well, that wraps up the Golden Gate Ferry portion. Thank you, everybody. Turn it back to our hosts.
I mean, just from WETA's end, thank you everybody for joining us, and please do sign up for our interstate certification webinar next week. We will be posting a video of this webinar and our presentation on our website, where we have our project information under opportunities.
Yes, I echo everyone. Thank you very much for your participation and your time. And please reach out to Lauren or I, and we could definitely help you with your DBE needs.
All right, thank you.
Have a great day, everybody.
Have a good day.